Hello, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live. And today we are going to talk about how you, as a citizen, don't make any money, whereas the government actually tax you and they end up making more money than the citizens. Now, before I start, I must tell that this is not, pointed towards any specific type of government, whether democracy or dictatorship, communism, or any other type of monarchy, yeah, any government. All of these government have the same modus operandi. And when I explain to you step by step, you will understand why I'm saying this. Before we begin, a word on our sponsor. Today, this live stream is sponsored by Mintra. And if you're looking for, specific shirt designs, there is a link given in the description. Kindly go through those links and avail the discounts and various schemes which are being offered. All right, let's begin the discussion. And the discussion is about how government always wins, and you as a citizen keep working very hard, generating more money for yourself, thinking that one day you will actually overcome the tax burden and will become rich. So let us begin our discussion. And the first point that we want to discuss today is understanding the how various government works. Well, the government of any type, any nation, any country is not in the business of making money. I mean, that is the first point. Government do not have any profit making programs running with themselves. This is a hypothetical situation. This is how the government is supposed to be, and by and large they are. None of the governments in the world, whether they are headed by democracy or dictatorship or any other type of government, they do not have any profit making program as a mainstream program. The main job of the government is to take care of people's welfare, and therefore all government programs are aimed at making sure the people are taken care by and large, and people must have happiness. They should have adequate resources, food, shelter, recreation, whatever. So that is the core job of any government. Now, having said that, how they will make how will make these facility reach out to the citizens? Because, as you know, the government does not make any money. However, for anything like welfare schemes, recreation, any kind of infrastructure development, you need money. So in order to fill that gap, because one side the government is not making any money but they need money, they actually tax the citizens. They tax the business people, and the citizens basically earn salary, live in that country, and because they are getting safety, security, and opportunities, the government of that area, of that region, charges taxes of various kinds. And then the government is supposed to utilize that money which they have collected in the form of tax in the welfare schemes. So this is how the government, by and large, are structured, and therefore we feel as good citizens that we must pay our taxes, because we are living in a country where the infrastructure is taken care of by the government, and also safety and security. Our borders are getting guarded, etc., etc. So all the citizens will like to pay their taxes in a timely manner and make sure that the government takes care of them and look after their interest. However, the reality is that government actually take the taxpayer money, and they do not go by the explanation which I gave you. The government, if they are especially elected in democracies, they are actually driven by the electorals, basically the type of people who have sent them to power. And during the elections, they were government, or the parties basically promise certain things, and once they come to power, they have to fulfill those promises. And therefore whoever has voted them, the government, especially in the democracy, they actually look after their electorals, and they are driven by that motives. So all their policies, tax collection, etc., all of those benefits will be driven by electorals. That is the reality. I mean, if you disagree, please send in your comments with your reason why you disagree on this. However, if there is a different kind of government, which is in a monarchy or a dictatorship, they will be again driven by the people who are backing them. Now, in those cases, we don't want to call them electorals, but we would like to call them the benefit or the people who put the king, people who are the kingmaker in those kind of governments. Therefore, those kind of governments which are headed by monarchs or dictators will look after certain section of society, not all of them. That is why people are more or less dissatisfied. So by and large, all the governments behave like that. They look after certain sections of the society, not all of them. And especially if you look at the democracies, they look after the electorals. So if the type of people who have given them the vote, and therefore those type of people will be taken care by the government, not by and large for everybody. I'm making this statement, it will be very clear in a moment. Now let's look at the tax. Everything is taxed. Now let's look at, I'm not taking any name or any country or any specific region. I'm just saying how government is basically taxing you and making money from your effort. You see, what happens is in all the countries, tax are collected at source. So moment you make your income, the tax is collected at that point. Now the collection method can be anything. It could be pro rata basis, it could be on a slab wise basis, it could be any kind of tax which is collected, but it is always collected at source. Moment you make the money, suppose you make like $1,000, a tax will be applicable on that $1,000 and the tax will be collected at the source. So for example, if your tax is 10%, then $100 will be taken, and before you even get that money in your bank, and $900 will be in your bank. So on the paper you have made $1,000, but in reality you have actually made $900. Now you got $900 in your account. What happens now? You go out and spend that money. Whenever you spend that money, you will have to pay GST on everything. The taxation on everything. Now it could be GST in your country, or it could be a sale tax, or it could be an excise tax. But by and large, these are the three taxes which are charged. Different names are given. Now if you basically pay all the taxes when you buy things, your groceries, your mobile phones, your television, your cars, the different tax you have paid when you spend the money on the money which you've already paid tax. When you got your salary, you've already paid tax on that, and then when you spend the money, you again pay tax. So even though everybody says that we want to reduce the layers, but the reality of the matter is that the layers are there as part of the system. You get taxed before you get paid, and then from that money you spend the money, you again have to pay tax. So this is how it is. So essentially you are not making anything. I mean, if you look at GST of 20%, you've already paid 10% towards income tax. Now you're paying 20% towards your sale tax or GST, or 15%, whatever the rate may be. I'm not talking about the rate. I'm just saying that you must deduct that 20% from your taxable tax-free income. So initially we started with $900, reduce 20% from that. Then your actual income is only, say, nearly about $700 or $750. So on the paper, it looks like you made $1,000, but actually in your pocket, you have only $750. Now you have already spent money. You've actually looked after your family and yourself. Now you want to invest money. When you invest money, then the investment will be again taxed. Now, in this case, certain countries will charge income tax on this again, or you will be charged capital gain. So the name of the tax changes now. From income tax, it has become capital gain. And when you actually, so this investment which is happening is from the money that you're left with after paying tax. So you remember, only $750 you got in your account. Now from $750, you're now investing in the mutual fund or equity market, which is shares, or you're buying property. In all these cases, you will be again taxed. Now let's talk about the property. Suppose you invest in property, then when you register the property in your name, there will be additional stamp duty that you need to pay. Say, for example, 5% or 7%, whatever that percentage is. So 7% duty you will have to pay. Once you pay that duty, which is 7%, there will be a GST on top of it. And there are different other taxes, service cost that the builder will put on you. So essentially what you're paying when you're buying your house or when you're investing in property, you're actually paying 11% on the sale price from the money which you've already paid tax earlier. So essentially what is happening here is that your cost of acquiring a property straight away reduces by 15%. So suppose you invest $100 in a property, the property cost will be $115. So $100 you think is the cost of the property, $15 is a tax towards it. So you see, that is how the thing is. So what is happening here is that you are paying tax after tax after tax without you even realizing it. So these are the tax layers which you are exposed to. You can do your math. My job is to only bring this idea to you, what is happening, and then you will know exactly how much money you are making. Now, all of this money is okay because you are a citizen of that country. It is okay. It is your duty to pay tax. I'm not saying that you should not pay tax. You should pay tax because the government is not in the business of making money. They are in the business of making safety, security, and all kinds of infrastructure for you, for the tax, for the exchequer, for the money from whom they are getting this money. The problem comes when the money is taken, but not the services are not provided by the government. For instance, in many countries, the right to education is a fundamental right. Right to food is a fundamental right. Right to health is a fundamental right. What are these fundamental rights? Fundamental rights are the rights which are provided by the Constitution. That every citizen in this country will have the compulsory right to get education, food, healthcare, all kinds of services which are basic in nature, which are considered basic necessity. So since this country is now formed, and therefore the government of that country will provide all these basic necessity for the citizens. Why they will provide? Because they are collecting taxes from the citizens. So citizen will have to pay a certain amount of tax. In return, government will provide all this. It's like that. And the governments are elected. They are chosen by the people so that collectively the society will get benefit. They will get benefit in terms of infrastructure, healthcare, education, etc. The problem comes when the taxes are so heavy. I don't think citizens will mind paying taxes, but if there are no returns from those taxes, that is where the problem is. Now, let's say if there is a right to education, that means every child must be educated absolutely free, paid by the government, because the tax itself is so high. You have multiple layers of tax hidden between tax layers, and you as a citizen, you are actually working very hard to generate money, and 50% of that money is going towards tax to the government. Your expectation is that my children should get educated to the world class standard because your tax itself is so high, right? That is your expectation. But if the problem will come if this is not adequate. On the other hand, once you are left only with 50% of your income, 50% has already been taxed, you go to the school, the fee structure itself is so high in the schools. That is where the problem comes. The fee is also going through the roof, which you again have to pay. And then when you pay the fee, there will be a GST on that. There will be different kinds of services, etc. And then and there are certain countries which are where the school fees are humongous, almost like 20 to 30% of the parent monthly income. So that is the type of education that you need to spend in order to provide better education to your children. And if this is a fact of the matter, then 50% tax you have already paid. 20 to 30% you're paying towards your child education, and if you have 2 kids, then it will be, you can do the math how much it will be. Then you're left only with 10%. So suppose you make $1,000 in a month, you're only left with $100 for your livelihood. So where is the money for you? So that is why I'm saying that there are multiple taxes and there are certain things. I mean, citizens must pay tax, that is given, and that has to be the norm here. However, the government must then provide whatever the fundamental duties of the government to the citizen. Fundamental, rights which have been given by the constitution must be given. So right to food, right to education, right to healthcare. Healthcare again is a very very expensive item. I mean, if you're healthy, it's good, you don't have to visit hospital. But if you are not healthy, what will happen? Because you're only left with $100. Most of the money is going towards taxes and your child education. And if you are not able to handle your healthcare, what will happen to you, right? So you have to think about those aspects. So if the government is prudent enough and provide you education, healthcare, and other fundamental benefits free of cost while taking 50% as tax, I don't think there will be an issue. The problem is you are giving all the taxes, and if you do not pay tax, the government will come down heavily. They will actually penalize you for defaulting on tax, and in return they do not provide the fundamental rights to you as a citizen. That is where the problem is. So therefore, the fact of the matter is, in reality, whichever government, whichever country you are living in, whether it's a dictatorship, Arabic country, Islamic country, democracy, communism, modus operandi of all these government is very similar. Absolutely similar. They take taxes from you, and if the government is giving you all the benefits, healthcare, education, etc., it is very good, you are lucky. But most of the government do not do that. You are left to fend for yourself. The government actually collect the money in the form of taxes from you, and then you have to make extra, there is extra burden on your shoulder to make more and more money. More money you make, more taxes you need to pay to the government, and you have to now look at maintaining your social standards and making sure that your healthcare is also taken care, your children education is also taken care, and your right, because you have a right to food also. Food must be, there is a food inflation also. There is so much high inflation which is going on right now, so that will also happen. So nutshell, what is happening here? Since I said in the beginning, the government is not in the business of making money. They only take taxes from you and then recycle that money back towards your benefit. If the benefits are not coming forth, then what is happening? How does it look like? It looks like that government is a sleeping partner in your endeavors. So if you are doing some sort of business or a service, it looks like the government will always be on the positive side. They will always take money from you, and you take all the risk. You do the investment. You wait for the right time. If something goes wrong, it is your risk. It's not the government. Government will keep taxing you. So they become like a sleeping partner who will always count money. This is the feeling that I get. Do let me know what is your opinion on this subject. If you have any contrary view, I will be more than happy to receive your comment. So friends, thanks for watching, and I look forward to your comments. Bye for now.